Sophie Rogers. Sophie will be introduced by her brother, Liberty.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not really sure what to pick yet by daily initiates. Sophie has always been competitive about racing pool or fighting other staff front seat. Our competition came to a final showdown a few years back when we fought over door family dog wins someone expected. We both sat on two different sides of the hallway and called for once. And once I ran to Sophie, I was infuriated. Sophie chased me through the house when I decided to run to the safety of my parents' bed. I thought it was all over for me when she jumped on the bed. But right before she got to me, she started screaming in bed. I peeked around the bed, still keeping my distance, and I saw blood everywhere and needles to the foot. From where my mom thought it was a good idea to rig the bed, skirt to the box spring mattress. Despite our fights, I guess I can't deny that she turned out to be pretty okay. Shelby has brains in the family and makes everything look so easy, and I'm jealous of that. You're asked very well.
Since freshman year, I have always known that I wanted my senior speech to stand out. But even after 4 years of contemplating different ideas, when the time finally came to write my speech, I was still nothing. To all the freshmen in the room, I was sitting just where you were years ago, thinking senior year was so far away. But now standing up here, it feels like yesterday. Over the past 4 years, Collegiate's become more than just a place to learn for me, and I encourage all of you all to not take your time here for granted, because trust me, it will be over before you know it. With that being said, I'd like to share a few of the funny stories that have stuck with me throughout my time at Collegiate. The first story I want to tell all the way back freshman year began within the first couple weeks of the school year. Immediately upon coming to Collegiate, one of the first things I learned was that the senior lounge was off limits to other grades. I had been in the senior lounge for orientation, so although I knew not to go in there, I didn't realize how strict this rule was held. Being the involved student I am, I quickly joined the Ambassadors Club, and one of the first things we were tasked with was to give tours to potential new students and parents. I was with Jeffrey McAtee and Paris Moon, and we were giving a now-collegiator, Maggie Tomaszewski, a tour of the school. We decided to tour the senior lounge, and as Jeffrey was mainly leading the tour, I made myself comfortable on one of the beanbags. Unbeknownst to me, Paris had taken a picture of me on the beanbag and ended up posting it on her Instagram. I walked into school that next Monday feeling confident, until I was greeted at the door with a huge wanted sign with a picture of me and my name on it. Immediately, panic took over, but it only worsened when I realized that there wasn't only one poster, and these wanted signs were plastered all over the school. Every hallway and all over the freshman hangout area were filled with huge wanted posters of me. To make matters even worse, people quickly told me the comforting story about how seniors had made a former graduate, Jane Bishop, cry and apologize to all the seniors after she'd gone to the senior lounge the year before. I thought I was done for. Being a new student at Collegiate, I didn't know a single senior and was absolutely petrified. I was holding back tears all day, and I immediately went home and told my mom I had to switch schools after my scandal. Thankfully, the harassment didn't go any further, and I did come out of the story as a survivor, although being in the senior lounge will continue to give me PTSD every single day. Freshman year, Lola brought joy to my life on the daily. Whether it was walking around the school with Emma Keen's tiny crop tops on, or eating the questionable meal of chocolate cake and shrimp for lunch, he was always up to something. Now, before I get into the story, I have to give some background on the stink bug infestation that was going on. One of the first memories I have when I got to Collegiate was being astonished at the amount of stink bugs that were living peacefully within Collegiate walls and crawling around the school. I remember there would be piles of them stacked in the corners of the ceilings, so when Lolo came across a stink bug, it was no surprise. However, Lolo's reaction to the stink bug was, upon finding the stink bug, Lolo announced he was going to eat it. Lolo began sticking his tongue out and preparing for his future meal, but right when he was sticking it into his mouth, the stink bug decided it had other plans. The stink bug flew off of Lolo's finger right onto his eye, plotting its final attack before Lolo freaked out and it flew away. Although Lolo never actually ended up eating the stink bug, I will forever remember that story. The next story about Lolo is the time when Emma and I convinced him to let us wax his chin. After Lolo telling us no over and over again for weeks, we completely disregarded his will, and Emma decided to bring all her waxing supplies to school. That day, we begged him so much that we finally pushed him to his breaking point, and he gave in. Emma immediately began setting everything up and put numerous waxing strips on his chin. Once we had set the hot strips on his face, there was no turning back, and by the fear in Lolo's eyes, I think he made this realization a little too late. I don't think men understand the pain women go through for beauty, but Lolo was about to be in for a surprise. Without warning, Emma yanked the waxing strip and Lolo screamed in pain. I will forever remember the look on Lolo's face, and I don't think I've ever laughed harder. After the waxing experience, Lolo still didn't cease to amaze me, as he started searching for any of the long hairs I shed. Every time Lolo would find any of my hairs, he would quickly snatch it and shove it into his pocket, saying he needed my hair for, and I quote, the doll he was making of me. As the years passed, a million more hilarious things happened. There was a showdown between Pi Bowden and Jackson Rue after Jackson accidentally whipped Pi's hands. Or the time when Ryan Anderley got sprayed by a skunk and spent his day walking around with an anti-skunk odor spray smelling rain. Or the time I came to school the shade of Donald Trump after a black spray tan. In October, I remember I was feeling a little bit bit. I had never gotten a spray tan before because of the numerous traumatizing stories I had heard from friends, but I decided today was good. The workers there helped me pick what shade and reassured me that it wouldn't be too dark. Little did I know how wrong they were. The next morning, I woke up orange. I knew it was bad, but I don't think I truly understood how bad. I was nervous of people's reactions as I walked into school, and I'll always remember how as soon as I walked into the senior lounge, the first thing Will McGregor did was gasp and start taking pictures of me. Thanks, Phyllis. I was so much of a jump scare that people would get visibly taken back when they saw me. However, this was only the beginning of my downfall. This particular day was also Honor Code signing day, so any attempt for me to lay low was foiled. I got called various names throughout the day, from annoying orange to Oompa Loompa, and I went home and took the longest shower of my life, scrubbing my face while trying to remove every last speck of that awful tan. So as you sit there, worried about your AP bio test, or whether or not Mr. Travis will clock you for not having your swipe card, just remember that everything will work out and to have fun in the process. I've had numerous experiences throughout collegiate that I thought I could never recover from, but in the end, I wouldn't change those memories for the world. I'm so grateful to collegiate for bringing me all the laughter it has, and I'm so blessed to share so many great memories with so many amazing people. Collegiate has shaped me into who I am today, and I couldn't imagine spending my 4 years in high school anywhere different. Thank you.
Our second speaker today is Sophia Louisa. Sophia will be introduced by her sister, Julia.
All sisters, always there to laugh with, cry with, and brutally make fun. You know, sister stuff. Also sister stuff, driving with an open sunroof and blasting Taylor Swift. Or laughing super hard watching your sisters dance and makes you look cool. But sisters don't just make fun of you in front of your whole school. There's so much more. Sophia always compliments me, helps me study, and supports me. So the common theme of our relationship is creating memories with my sister? No, Taylor Swift. Our queen, our savior, our one. She always has my back, and so did Sophia. It pains me to know that next year she won't be here. I miss you already. So now let's give a round of applause to the best sister ever, Sophia Louisa.
I was 6 years old when I met the love of my life. Well, her. I had just gotten out of church, and Lily Polaris was showing me songs on her new iPod. She played me a song from the Taylor Swift album Red that had just been released. Instantly, I fell in love. 10 years later, I've listened to every album she's released. I've seen her in concert twice. I've watched her Netflix documentary a solid 3 times. I even made a Taylor Swift-themed Christmas tree, complete with a cutout of her face at the top, and a choreographed dance with my sister to the song Christmas Tree Farm. I also made a dance to the first part of Hey Stephen by Taylor Swift, but that one, infamous as it was absolutely terrible. I'm a Swiftie, so it came natural for me to select Taylor as the topic of my senior speech. Taylor Swift has been the invisible string tying me to my loved ones and my emotions. I don't know what I would do without her. One of my earliest memories of Taylor Swift in my life occurred at the Camp Hi-Ho talent show. Anybody who's been to Camp Hi-Ho knows that the week ends with a cookout and a talent show put on by the campers. I think back to my 8-year-old self, my transition glasses, my gymboree tank tops, and my tendency to shake my hands in front of my face when nervous. And I can't think of a more driven, talented, fashion-forward girl to perform at the talent show. So I gathered up my courage and Googled my favorite Taylor Swift song, You Belong With Me. You Belong With Me is a song about a nerdy girl with glasses, like me at the time, falling for a guy with a girlfriend who meets the description of every popular Mean Girl movie character ever. I got up on stage on the last day of the week. The camp counselor was playing my song. I started to sing. I was very breathy and quiet. Taylor Swift's voice boomed over the speaker. For a moment, I became one with Taylor. I sang louder and louder, and then midway through the song, the counselor cut me off and yells, "Next!" A little sad the song is over, I hop off the stage to watch some kid do a basic magic trick he learned on YouTube. Despite feeling cut off, I still feel electrified. When I was older, I began to get bullied. In grade school, people would say rude things about my appearance or the way I acted. Girls in my advanced math classes would criticize me no matter what I said. But like everything else, Taylor Swift was there for me, specifically through her song, Mean. With lyrics like, "All you are is mean and a liar and pathetic and alone in life and me," I was able to regain confidence and remind myself that someday I'd be living in a big old city and all those girls were ever going to be was me. Unfortunately, they didn't turn out to just be mean. They were really smart and good at sports. So they're probably mean and got into Ivy Leagues, but that's not the point. I joined cross country in 6th grade, the same year Taylor Swift's Reputation album came out. If you don't know, Reputation has the best workout songs of any Taylor Swift album. Sorry, Procore. So picture me, gangly 6th grade me, running 9-minute miles to the song, "Are You Ready For It?" I was a speed demon. I loved people asking, "Are you ready for it?" including my cross country coach, who apparently was not, and was quite frankly a little fed up with all my water breaks. To her, I apologize. As much as I wanted to believe it, I was not a runner. My freshman year, Taylor Swift's Lover album came out. The year before high school started, my mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer. My whole family struggled in ways we'd never seen. My mom was our rock. She was our support system. And while we tried our best to support her, we found ourselves struggling with our own fears. Coincidentally, Taylor Swift's mom also had breast cancer. In her song, "Soon You'll Get Better," Taylor Swift writes about her experience with her mom's illness. One line that particularly stuck with me was, "You'll get better soon, because you have to." I felt desperation often, wishing to see my mom smile again. I wanted to be certain that she would be okay. I needed to feel it in my bones. Like Taylor, I felt like failure wasn't an option. My mom had to recover. Around the start of my freshman year, my mom completed her treatment and was declared cancer-free. Listening to "Soon You'll Get Better" still brings me back to that time in my life. In 10th grade, I noticed similar parallels to Taylor Swift songs in my life. Sometimes it was small things, a crush or a major accomplishment. Other times I related to Taylor Swift's Revenge. Allow me to set the scene. I'm 14 and I've just gotten a new haircut. It's short, it's sleek, and it's fun. Innocently, I joined a house party call with some of my friends. No one picks up on my hair, except for one girl, Isabella. With no mercy, she cuts into me and tells me my hair looks like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. Embarrassed, I didn't know what to do. It hit me later, Taylor Swift. Later, I blasted Bad Blood through my headphones, frowning and wallowing in my teen angst. On a more serious note, I did struggle with a lot of stress and anxiety in 10th grade. COVID was still a constant factor in my life, and so were my panic attacks. My stress got so bad that I had to drop a class. In December 2020, Taylor Swift released the song "This Is Me Trying," a song that perfectly represented what I was going through, having started out the year in a good place and quickly moving away. I felt like I had failed in a way I couldn't see. Taylor Swift describes this in her song. "They told me all of my cages were mental." I could really relate to that at the time. 11th grade came with a smile and the release of Red, Taylor's version. This album included hits like "All Too Well," the 10-minute version, and "I Bet You Think About Me." But the song that stuck with me the most was "Begin Again." "Begin Again" details how life can heal itself after loss, and how we can learn to love ourselves in recovery. After my sophomore year, I was ready to start over. Furthermore, I was ready to start over in a healthy way. I liked clubs, I collected A's, I visited colleges, and I spent time with friends. I learned what it meant to succeed after failure. Now as a senior, I work on accepting my flaws. I look to Taylor Swift's song "Anti-Hero" for a representation of my mentality. I still have fears and stresses. I still have friends and family. I still have bad days and people I don't care for. I still feel like everybody is a sexy baby, but now I have a better outlook and a more carefree manner of viewing the world. Like Taylor and Anti-Hero, I can admit that sometimes I'm the problem, and sometimes you will be the problem too. But that doesn't mean you should run and hide. That doesn't mean you should ignore your wrongdoings. That just simply sums up the idea that we are humans and we make mistakes. We're all problems in our own ways, but it is in our willingness to begin again and our kindness in doing so that we can strive to be better problems. I was 6 when I first listened to Taylor Swift. I'm 16 now. Taylor Swift has been a constant in my life for as long as I can remember. She's guided me through bullies, crushes, friendships, crises, and revivals. I truly believe that I have evolved alongside her music, and I can't wait to see what she releases next. From Taylor Swift, I learned to be strong in the face of conflict, but there is always a song that can validate your emotions, even right now. So to all the stress and anxiety I had about my senior speech, I can now say this: I'm just gonna shake it off. Thank you.
Our final speaker today is Katie Cooper. Katie will be introduced by Senor Ojeda.
Good morning. Okay. I'm very happy that the day has finally come for me to introduce Katie for her senior speech. For the past 2 months, Katie has come to my class before school, during lunch, and after school to remind me of my commitment to introduce her senior speech. I know that this is a special moment for Katie, and I understand that her persistence is a reflection of the great excitement she feels to finally have the opportunity to speak to all of you so she can share important aspects of her life at Columbia. I met Katie during her junior year when she joined Xenophiles, the club that allows us to share about the cultures for which each student identifies. During these gatherings, in addition to talking about cultures, we eat and play traditional games. I remember once we played a Bosnian game that was particularly difficult. It was so difficult that Haris had to use rulers and mathematics to calculate each player's position. Somehow, for Katie, this game was too easy. Almost without any effort, Katie defeated all her opponents. However, Katie did not show any kind of reaction to such an achievement. For her, life went on as if she hadn't won the most difficult game on the face of the earth. Today, as I have the pleasure of introducing Katie for her senior speech, I realized that her surprising reaction after winning the Bosnian game was nothing more than her unique way of seeing the world. Katie observes. She plans. Most of all, Katie decides very well each action step. You were right, Katie. Sometimes we get so focused on our accomplishments that we lose sight and perspective of what really matters. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Cooper.
The most important life lesson I've learned is that I don't need to depend on anyone but myself. Throughout my almost 17 years living in America, my mom has taught me that independence isn't always a bad thing. I didn't know I was born in China. My mom traveled from here to China to adopt me at 9 months. While I appreciate her now, when she adopted me, I must have been thinking, who the heck is this woman? That don't even look like her. Now, she's become someone who I can probably call my aunt. I've never really been independent until the start of high school. When I was younger, I always depended on my mom to order my food, say hi to others, and speak for me entirely. I was a nervous wreck in front of people and usually escalated. I hate public speaking, asking for a dressing room, ordering my food, and asking for help with anyone. But because of Uber Eats, food has been taking my paychecks completely. Getting food and not having to talk to people is probably the best idea anyone has ever had. But in high school, my mom eventually forced me to start ordering my own food at drive-thrus, but pulling up farther so that I could speak out of the back window. At the big age of 15, I could finally order on my own. Over the years, she has pushed me far out of my comfort zone in order for me to achieve the basic skill of talking out loud. I have never really been a social person with people in school. When I started school at my elementary school, I was bullied and heard comments like, "Why are her eyes so small? Open your eyes, and can she even see?" I was advised to sit next to the teachers every day and had to go home with the shame that I was too quiet and educated to not be bullied. There was no way my small second grade body was going to be able to stand up to those fifth graders. I remember one day in second grade, I accidentally brought my favorite stuffed bunny, who went by the name of Pinkie Bunny, to school. I had dropped her in the gym on the way to class and someone had taken it. After a week, I heard she was in the office, but when I got there, the office said someone had already picked it up. Sometime after that, this girl younger than me had given me her favorite stuffed bunny for me to feel better. I thought to myself, did this little girl really give up her favorite stuffed bunny for me, someone that's older than her? This is one of my favorite childhood memories. I thought this girl was so brave for giving up her own just for me. Even though I had never got people on back, this one instance pushed me to be more independent than I am now. I've learned that there won't always be that one person who can do everything when you feel lost, and you have to be able to pick yourself up. Eventually, maybe because my mom didn't have to start ordering food, I was able to stand up and advocate for myself. Throughout my life, my mom has taught me to speak for myself and be confrontational even if it means people are watching. While she hasn't taught me this directly, she's taught me through her colorful and spirited fashion. Outside of work, my mom wears bright colored clothes that don't usually match and aren't exactly my style, but I appreciate her confidence. You might think how clothes and speaking up for yourself go together. My mom wears her bright colored shirts, pants, shoes, and overalls with no care in the world about what everyone has to say. She walks around everywhere with the same confidence and positive attitude. This taught me that no matter how many people are watching you, be yourself and be able to speak your mind through whatever is easy to see. Recently, my independence hasn't just been shown by speaking out loud. It is now shown through how I've taken on adult responsibility. Because I work at the fire kitchen after school, often pulling shifts from 4 to 10 or 5 to 11, I have to start on my homework after work. Sometimes that means I prioritize sleep over studying. I've been working hard and noticing on my own, in part to prepare for going off to college soon. With work and school, I feel that I don't have as much time for my social life. But when I do have time, I get to go out. I usually just do what I want because my mom has finally let me venture out a little more. But I'm still on my 360 as a senior. Throughout my whole high school experience, I've been so eager to increase my independence. However, when I go to college, I don't really know what I'm going to do without my mom's presence. Even though my freedom is important to me, my mom is too. I know I won't have her telling me to do my work or her to remind me that I have something to do all the time. I will miss her own independence and her hard work, admire her diligence, perseverance, genuineness, generosity, and her kind heart. I have learned so many important lessons. Life won't always throw you essential lessons. As much as I don't depend on people anymore for help, I will always appreciate my mom for teaching me how to be independent myself.